Welcome. We are going to learn how to multiply decimals, and this will be made simple. I'm going to leave this title page on here for about 10 seconds, and then I will pause. Okay, whenever we have a regular whole number, there is a decimal point there, but we can't see it because it's invisible, and it is on the far right-hand side. So, decimal point there, there's a decimal point there, and there's a decimal point there. Again, any regular whole number, there's a decimal point there, but it's invisible and we cannot see it. Okay, now we have some decimals. Let's look at this top one. Notice that it is as if somebody moved this decimal point from its starting position right here, one space to the left, one space to the left. I want to notice that and I want to keep that in mind. Let's look at this next decimal. We've got a decimal point right here. It's as if somebody moved that decimal point from its original starting position here 2 spaces over. 2 spaces over. I want to keep that in mind and take note of that because that's going to come into play in just a few moments. Okay, we're going to do regular multiplication on this guy right here, 12 times 12. I do know that happens to be 144, but let's work it out anyway. I know 2 times 2 gives me 4. 2 times 1 equals 2. I like to cross that guy off when I'm done. At the same time, I put in my place value holder, and I'm ready to move on to the next number. I know 1 times 2 gives me 2. 1 times 1 gives me 1. Now I'm ready to add. Now 4 plus 0, 2 plus 2, nothing plus 1 equals 144, and that's absolutely correct. I want you to notice these 4 problems. They're all multiplying decimals. Notice I have not lined up any of the decimals. This happened just on accident, purely on accident. I don't line up the decimals when I multiply because that's not the proper method. The only time I line up decimals is when I'm adding or subtracting. Again, the only time we line up decimals is when we're adding or subtracting. Multiplication has nothing to do with lining up those decimals. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to do the multiplication on every one of these and completely ignore the decimal point. That's my first step. I'm going to go ahead and write my final answer here, at least number-wise. Same thing on this guy. Same thing on the rest of these. So my first step, do the multiplication. Ignore the decimal points. Now, I'm going to put the decimal points in the correct spots. Let's look at this first guy. There's 1 decimal point. It's as if he has been moved from his original spot 1 space to the left. 1 space to the left. So I need to make sure I have a match in my final answer. I go to the original spot. I move 1 space to the left. I put in my decimal point, and I am done. My final answer is 14.4, and that's absolutely correct. Let's move on to the second one. Let's look at all the decimal points in play. With this top guy, that decimal point has been moved from the original spot 1 space to the left. He's been moved another space to the left. So in total, we have moved 2 spaces to the left. We need to make sure we have a match in our final answer. We start at the original spot. We move 2 spaces to the left, we put in our decimal point, and we are done. So the final answer to this one is 1.44, and that's absolutely correct. Let's look at number 3. This guy's been moved 2 spaces to the left. This guy's been moved 1 more space to the left. That's 3 spaces total. We want to start at the end like always. Move 3 spaces to the left. 1, 2, 3. I put in my decimal point, and this is absolutely correct. A lot of the times we want to put a 0 in front of this, but it's not absolutely necessary. Our final answer here is 0.144, and that's absolutely correct. Let's do this last guy. We've got 2 spaces to the left, 2 more spaces to the left, so that's a total of 4 spaces. We're going to start in our original spot. We're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice we've got a space right there. What we want to do with that is put in a 0. Technically, we are done. Again, putting a 0 in front is not a bad idea, but not absolutely required. So our final answer here is 0.0144, and that's absolutely correct. So this is how we multiply decimals every time, all the time. Do the multiplication first, then count all of your decimal spacing. Make sure you have a match in your final answer. Again, this is how we multiply decimals every time, all the time. Thank you.